It is May 25th, 2019. We're here at 4524 Lehrer Drive in San Diego, California, 92117. We're going to inspect the main sewer line for the house. We're here on the rooftop. We have two bathrooms. We're over the hall bathroom right now. We have a newer 2-inch ABS plastic vent. There's some cobwebs in the line as usual. Looks like we've got an elbow turn here on the line. We'll see if that's gonna sit down. We're gonna pause for 1 second and get those cobwebs off our camera head. Okay, so we've cleaned off our camera front lens. Looks like we've got two more turns on the system there. So we've now gone through 4 elbows. So actually you can't even get through the 4th one. So they're allowed to put as many turns as they want on a vent line. So this isn't out of code, but it's going to prohibit us from getting the camera down through this part of the system. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video. We're not sure if this line runs over to Lehrer or to the crossroad. So we're going to go ahead and move our camera over to the laundry and see if that runs towards the 2 bathrooms, and if the sewer line is at the cross street instead. Otherwise, the laundry will kind of be at the end of the line from within the house. So we'll pause for 1 second. Okay, so moved over to the area right next to the garage here. There's our water heater vent. There's our kitchen vent. And this should be our laundry vent. And there's also plumbed in for a utility sink in the garage. It's not hooked up, so I'm not sure if this is going to lead directly down into either one of those or if it's going to have some turns on it. Okay, here's the transition to plastic ABS from the remodel they did. There's the T-junction right there, where the drain empties into it. And then here we're just at ground level, essentially right above the slab, and it transitions back into the original cast iron line for the house. So this is an original 2-inch cast iron pipe running across. There's a little bit of debris right there. So this cast iron pipe looks good. This is, again, for the laundry. We may be junctioning into the kitchen if it's traveling that way, so we might start to get a little bit more debris. Looks like we have a T-junction right there. This could be where the kitchen ties in, so what we're going to do is we're going to pause the video for 1 moment and turn the kitchen sink on for a few seconds. Okay, so the real estate agent is going to go ahead and turn the water on. Yep, there we go. So the kitchen drain water is, or this is the T-junction, I should say, for the kitchen. So this laundry line is headed directly towards the kitchen, under the slab within the foundation wall of the house. And then it's going to be headed from the kitchen here. We'll be headed towards the master bathroom, it appears, more than likely. So we'll go ahead and now push down this pipe here and see if we can get through this. Sometimes the kitchen lines will get really built up with heavy scale and deposits or gunk. So far we're able to get through this. Okay, now here's the remodeled part of the house for this master bath, where they went ahead and ran all new plastic pipe. So, well, just part of it. So just this one T-junction here that's picking up, and it goes right back into the cast iron. So it's possible this cast iron is headed across the front yard already towards Lehrer and not the side street. But we've got a little bit of debris on the camera lens from the kitchen, so we're going to go ahead and pause for 1 moment to get some water down the line to clean that off. Okay, so we ran that water down the line, so we got a little bit better view. Still a little fogged up from that debris. So we are in original cast iron main right here. So got a little pooling of water right here at this turn, so that's typical right at a turn fitting like this. Made a couple full 90s there. Okay, looks like we've got a root intrusion in the sewer pipe right here. So go ahead and pull this up here. So we're going to go ahead and run a bunch more water to clean off our lens better. We're also going to locate where this is at on the property right now before we continue down the line. Okay, so we've run a bunch of water down the line to rinse off the camera lens. So you can see that ball of roots there in this cast iron. This is 30 inches deep, and this root intrusion is just to the left of the front concrete sidewalk as you're headed towards the front door. So it's in the front yard to the left of the walkway. And we'll make a marking with a flag denoting the path of the pipe and the depth. So you can see another little small root growing in right there in the top of the screen at that hub connection. Again, we apologize with all the debris on the camera lens. It's sometimes, even with water running, it's hard to rinse it off perfectly clear. But we're going to continue to push down the line so we can see if this is a straight shot and which way it's headed, towards Uniontown or Lehrer. We're still not 100% sure. Maybe some debris at this hub. This piece right here might be some roots. We're going to pause for 1 second and flush the toilets again. Okay, so it looks like it's another intrusion. Again, we apologize. We're going to have to possibly pull our camera all the way out and try to wipe the lens down, but every time it goes through all these rough turns on cast iron, it might just glob up. But this looks to be another root intrusion right there. We're going to pull back and locate that just so we can see which way we're going. We're going to push a few more feet down the line just to see if there's anything else really obvious or any other turns on the system. It doesn't look like it, so we'll pull back here. Looks like there's one long little root there on the left side of the screen, upper left, and that little ball that's starting to grow in at that hub. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video and locate this. Okay, so we flushed the toilet one more time. We did go ahead, and this root intrusion is in the front yard. It is under the brown bark mulch, and the sewer line from these two pipes is actually headed towards the cross street, which is Uniontown. So that's the pathway that this cast iron line is running after it leaves the house. And that's why there was that hard 90-degree turn after it left the house, which is a little unusual that the builders would have set it up that way, but they did. So it's now running across the front yard, but headed parallel to the front of the house and headed again towards Uniontown. So we'll see how far we can keep going. We've pushed out pretty far through this 2-inch into the main with some turns, but we are still going. We did not see any clean outs on the property, and obviously this is all original cast, so we've not found any here either. So if there are any, then they're going to be completely buried, or the original ones that weren't brought to surface. No other root intrusions so far. Just some typical scale and buildup of deposits on the cast iron, but nothing too bad. Okay, here's our property line clean out. So I again apologize with all that debris on the camera lens. Not a crystal clear, perfect image. But this is the T-junction right here. And we may not be able to get any further, just depending. But as we slowly pull back, on the top of the screen, that opens up. So that's where this horizontal pipe is going to make a downward turn. So you can see the turn we're making right here. It looks like it might be a 45. So with a bunch of water running, we may be able to get this out a little bit further. But we're going to go ahead and pull the camera back first and pause the recording while we locate this buried clean out. Okay, so we're at that clean out, which we located about 3 feet in front of the sidewalk here, at 3 feet deep. We got all the water running in the house. We're going to try to see if this can help reduce the friction and with the movement get our camera down through this part of the system here. As you can see, it's dropping still really deep. And we've made the turn. I can see we just passed a root intrusion. It appears to be in the clay pipe. We're just going to keep pushing. Once we shut the water off, then we'll have a crystal, or at least a better view of the system. Keep forcing this down to see if we can get through all of this and into the city. Okay, I think we just dropped into the city, so we're going to pause the video. Okay, so you can see on the very top of our lens and camera, we still have a little black bunch of debris that's really clogged and caked up on the top of the lens there. But this is the city line here in Uniontown. So as we back up, we're just coming, that's the T-junction where this house drops into. This is 4-inch clay pipe. So we're now going to come backwards and confirm if we have any root intrusions at all on these hubs. We think we passed one. Back up here. This is the responsibility of the owner to maintain this line, even if it's in the street or past the property line under the city sidewalk and front curb area. Only if the line is broken or collapsed can a plumber file a plumber's report with the city, and they would repair that. But the rest of the cleaning is the homeowner's responsibility. So I believe we've got some very small buildup there, but it's not roots, just caked on the wall of the pipe there. Okay, I can't see if those are roots or if that is just little debris on there. It looks like it could be some roots. Okay, there's our roots that are intruding at this hub for sure. Again, we apologize. Every time we pull this camera back out and try to clean it off, it's just going to get debris on there again, so it's probably never going to clean it all off perfectly. But anyway, you can see the obvious roots intruding here in the clay. Not too bad right now. The line's still totally functional with them, but they're going to continue to grow in the line, and you need to have an access, so that's why we have everything marked the way we do. So that's the best view we're going to get, unfortunately, with the lens, but you can see the roots, obviously. Take a quick snapshot photo. I'm now going to pause the video while we go ahead and locate this on the system. Okay, so these roots are in the 4-inch clay pipe. These are just past the city sidewalk, and they're actually about 9.5 feet deep. So the pipe is extremely deep here. So as we back up here, it's going to really quickly transition back to that cast iron and the 45-degree elbow headed back upwards, and there we go. So now we're headed up this long run. You can see we're still headed up this vertical pipe. That's why the other pipe is so deep. You can see we're finally transitioning back to this horizontal. So again, that's where the property line clean out is. And as we back up here, we've already seen all this. We're just going to go ahead and keep pulling back in case some more of that debris comes off our lens. We can see the rest of the cast iron a little bit better. Okay, so there's that second root intrusion build up on the line right there. And then as we back up here, let me pull forward just a little bit again, see if we can get a little photo of that. That's so unclear, we apologize. Even with all that water, just can't clean the lens off extremely well. Alright, so we're going to pull back to the other first root intrusion here, a few more feet back. Okay, here we go. This is the other intrusion right here. Again, I apologize for that quality of that. We're going to run some water through there really quick. Okay, so flush that toilet. As you can see all the roots on the top of the pipe there, all growing into the system there. So that's where all these roots are. And that's right after this turn. So you can see here, here's our turn on the line, 90. Now we're headed back into the house, actually. So we're going to go ahead and mark this spot here in case somebody does want to dig up and repair that pipe. They're going to be back to that 90-degree elbow. They're going to need to make that transition and come into this part here possibly. So we'll go ahead and just push forward here. Get a little bit of that holding water. Okay, we're going to pause right there and locate. Okay, so we've located the line. It's a little under 2.5 feet deep, and we've marked it with some chalk and a stake. It's just to the left of the sidewalk under the rock bed that's there next to the sidewalk as it comes out of the house. So we've marked that in case, again, they dig up the roots to repair that. They'll probably have to take out that 90-degree turn and come backwards. It's possible we have a buried two-way clean out right here. Can't get a centering guide on our camera, but it actually looks like this may be an original two-way T clean-out junction right here. I can see a little opening at the top of the pipe. So I'm going to go ahead and locate it. If this is within a foot or so of the foundation wall, that's what this is. And you could dig this up for access to clean those roots out and do the foaming chemical treatment to maintain the line if they don't want to dig it up and repair. So we're going to pause the video. Okay, so we've located this clean out. It is a couple feet away from the foundation wall, and it's about 24 inches deep. So there you can see actually our lens has kind of cleaned itself off. And so you can see that curvature of the pipe there. That's an opening. So that is what's called a two-way clean out. We're not allowed to use them anymore, but there's a brass cap lid that can be cut off, and then you could drop a cable and go in either direction, and then you could extend that up, of course, above to the ground level for future maintenance for the roots or any other drain clogs. So we're now going to go ahead and just pause the video since we've seen all this already, and we're going to go down through the, little bit of roots right there. So, okay, so we didn't see that the first time because of all the debris on there. So we have a little tiny root right there in the line that's starting to grow in at that hub. Doesn't need any maintenance or repair at this time. But again, their pipe is just starting to give way. It's been a real aggressive root base that's down there that's trying to get into the line. So pull back here and see if we see anything else before we stop recording. Okay, here's that ABS turn, and now we're back into the smaller pipe. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video and move over to the other bathroom. Okay, so we moved over to the master bathroom, and as you can see here, we have a little vent cap, but there is not a vent line here for the toilet, which is all the way at the very end of the house, by the end of the pitch line there. Then we have the lavatory sink, then we have the shower stall. The only vent we have is this 2-inch vent here, so this may have been that they moved all the plumbing around. That's why we see that little bit of ABS underground to reposition everything or redo some of it. The toilet is required to have a 2-inch vent. On a 3-inch pipe, which we assume it is, it has to be within 6 feet. And if it's a 4-inch line, it has to be within 10 feet. So we're not seeing anything there. We're going to go ahead and actually let's just see really quick here. This cover did not look like this was a vent pipe. It looks like this was a metal. Let's just see really quick here. Yeah, so that is an aluminum pipe right here. Move this around. So you can see that's an aluminum pipe. There's the little fold. So they just covered this up. I don't know if it was some ducting for an exhaust fan or something else at one time, but it's not a sewer or drain vent. We have this other one covered up here. There's nothing there. So this is the only vent. So we're hoping to see a T-junction here or a hard turn on the line. Here we have a 90. Let's see, you've got a bunch of debris there. Let's see if we can pull this out, scrape that off our lens. Doesn't look like that. I apologize, we're just trying to get a good view here. Okay, so here's the turn on the line, and it's running across. Okay, here's a T-junction there where it's going over, and that would be either for the, we haven't seen anything before, so that should be for the shower stall. It also could be for the lav sink. As we run over here, here we have the turn on the line, and this is now going down. Let's see if we can, there we go. Let's see if this connects into off the toilet. Okay, here we have transitioning to ABS, and right there we have a drain entering into the system. So we're going to pause the video for a second. This still looks like 2-inch pipe possibly, so this might be where the lavatory is dumping into the system. So we're going to pause 1 second. Okay, so the agent inside the home is going to go ahead and turn the water on. So we're going to see if this appears to be a 2-inch line still. So we'll see if this is where, because it looks shiny. There we go. So he just turned on the lavatory sink, so the water is now coming into the system there. So that is the vent is going in and tapping in off of that line here. So let's go ahead and push down this piece here. Okay, here we have a junction. I believe this is where the toilet dumps into the system. So it looks like they're using what's called a wet vent. So this should be where the toilet dumps into the system. So we're going to go ahead and pause for 1 second and rush that toilet. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and flush the toilet for us inside the house. There we go. Alright, so they did connect into the vent, so it's a long run from the toilet to there, but it is okay. So that's where that dumps into the line, and then that goes across, and then dumps into the main right there, and that's the T-junction that we passed with the other camera. So that's it. Everything is inspected for this house. We'll go ahead and move our camera down to the ground level and just show the markings we made. Okay, so we moved our camera just down to outside. It's already dark outside, and the cameras don't give a great view when they're outside a pipe. They're not meant to be like video cameras. But anyway, you can see here the front door of the house. You can see our white stake right there. That's denoting that clean out at about 28 inches deep, the two-way one that could be dug up, because the line then travels across this path. There's the pipe right there across those green markings on the rock. We noted pipe right there, same thing, about 28 inches deep. And then it comes over this way. We're just going to pan up a little bit. Makes a 90-degree turn, and right by almost by that in front of this weed. And then right here, this is that heavy root intrusion. You can see roots at 30 inches deep. And then as we pan across, there's another little white stake you can see sticking out of the ground a little bit farther away here. That's where the other second roots are at 37 inches deep. And then across, going towards the back of that car you see on the screen, in front of that, to the back side of it, I'm sorry, by a couple feet. On the other side of the sidewalk is where the roots are underground in the clay. And then in front of the sidewalk is where we have another little white stake, and that's where the property line clean out is. If somebody ever needed to expose that. So everything's all marked here on the property. This is the very heavy root intrusion that needs some more immediate maintenance. The line doesn't have to be dug up and repaired. I mean, the cast iron is unfortunately failing and cracking and breaking, allowing these roots to grow in the cast iron, but it's still fully intact for the most part. They're growing in from the top and side walls. So unless after the hydrojetting or snaking it started to crumble really bad, you should be able just to clean it up and then maintain it with a foaming root chemical treatment called Robic. Otherwise, in either case, though, because of how the venting system is on the roof, there's no way to put a cable or hydrojetter down. So that clean out right there that we've got marked in front of the edge of the house, that needs to be brought to surface to help clean out and maintain these roots. Otherwise, if they're just going to do a repair here at these root intrusions, then the line, when it's dug up here, you can put in regular full-size clean outs in both directions. So that concludes this recording for the property.